You're listening to Co-operative Multiplayer. The official podcast of the 4-in-1 Game Zone.
Hello and welcome to the Co-operative Multiplayer Live, the official 4-in-1 Game Zone podcast. I want to thank again to Josh Wetchell for letting us use part of his song, or parts of his song as the theme for the show. I am your host, Sean Garmer, and with me, as usual, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
How have things been going? It's been less than a week this time.
Yeah, going pretty well. Playing a lot of Metal Gear.
Well, that's good. You were telling me it could be your game of the year.
Yeah, it's between that and The Witcher 3. And I think The Witcher is very close. I think The Witcher 3 is an amazingly done game. It has a much better story, for example. But I kind of just don't care about the setting that much. And I think, The Witcher 3, there's not that much variety in the combat, I don't think. I mean, there can be if you want it to be, but not really.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's not... what is it, the same...
I mean,
you
you can set traps or, throw bombs or knives or stuff, but it's mostly just kind of hacking and slashing through various monsters or humans.
Well, at least it gives you a lot to do in the game, though.
Yeah.
Which, I guess the same can be said for Metal Gear.
Yeah, it's almost too big.
Have the other ones been quite that big, or...?
No, the other ones were all linear. At the time they were big, but they were all kind of just linear stories. Like, you have a mission, go do it. And you can explore around a little, but there's never really any reason to. Unless you just want to get, some screwball item or just kind of screw around. But this one is just open world, so it's vastly different. Metal Gear Solid 3 and 4 were open world, kind of.
Yeah.
But not really. Metal Gear Solid 3 was much more so, but both of them were just go do this mission.
Right.
And this one is just put me in the desert and I want to screw around.
So, where would you rank this in the Metal Gear Solid pantheon, I guess?
I would say for gameplay, it's probably the best one. As for the story, I'm not quite sure. Snake never talks, except he talks very rarely. So that's kind of disconcerting. Most of the story is just told through cassette tape. And it's this is weird.
They ever give a reason why it's sold through cassette tape?
Not really. Snake has a Walkman.
Just randomly, huh?
One of the characters is interrogated and there's a recording cassette when he's being interrogated, and you get the cassette tape from that. But most of the time you just get mission briefings and a cassette tape to listen to, and it's this is kind of weird.
Well, at least the gameplay is good enough to...
Yeah.
Not...
Oh, the gameplay is great. I just unlocked weapon customization. So I can finally start using non-lethal weapons.
Ah, nice.
I'm happy about that.
So you can start sneaking around, I guess?
I've been doing that constantly. My current buddy right now is D-Dog, who pretty much just displays every enemy on the map, around you. So he's pretty useful for capturing guys and taking them to the base.
Nice. So I heard all this. You had posted on your status that there's this woman in the game named Quiet.
Yeah.
I guess is your like plaything, or I don't know what your.
No. She's like an enemy to start, but you take her out pretty quickly. I did it by the usual method of dropping a few boxes on her head, and that killed her, or that stunned her. I'm not kidding. Like that's how everyone does it. But she becomes a buddy later on. And missions, you can take different buddies with you. Like I have 3 right now. I have a horse, a dog, and like a walker tank thing. And she becomes one later on. I'm hoping to get her soon. But she's like a sniper who can like take out like entire bases for you if you want.
Wow.
Yeah, but she's dressed like there's a story. I read there later. There's like a storyline reason why, but she's just dressed in like a bra, a thong, and like stockings, or like see-through like military pants, and I'm like, that's dumb.
Oh, can't go past the stereotype, I guess.
Like women in Metal Gear have kind of always been a little sexualized, except for maybe in MGS2, maybe.
Right.
But it's kind of like on a weird like whole new level, and it's not. It's very sexualized, but it's not exploitative. That's kind of the difference.
But every time you see her, she has like little clothing on. So.
Yeah, but I guess she's not being.
Yeah,
well,
she's not.
She doesn't talk for one, so she's not like.
Yeah, she's not telling you to like take her or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's not. Or it's not like some like entendre like Leisure Suit Larry type of thing or anything like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, also she apparently, if you take her along certain missions, she'll corrupt your save.
Yeah, I think it's like save 25 and 42.
29 and 42.
Okay,
You got
so
one.
don't take those. Don't take her on those.
That's still funny. Like they figured it out by you don't take this one person with you to the.
I'm kind of curious about how many buddies there are, because I have 4 right now, and I would assume there's probably going to be some more.
It would seem like there's going to be a lot, or you know, it wouldn't be something big in the game. That's something new for the game, right?
Oh yeah, entirely. Like I unlocked the ability now to play as like different characters in the game if I want.
Oh, nice.
I don't know why you would, but I mean, like they did have different stats, but it's like, all right, I guess.
They should let you play as the guy from Revengeance.
Raiden? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
this game was taking place, 40, 50 years before that, maybe. No, 30, maybe 20. This game takes place in like the mid '80s,
Ah,
so it's probably like 20 years, 25 years.
well, there you go.
But there are child soldiers in this game because Kojima has a weird fascination with them.
Wait, why?
They're at least in child soldiers are in at least 2 other games. They're in Metal Gear Solid, Revenge or Rising for one, and I think they're in. I want to say Metal Gear Solid 4 might have had them. I'm not entirely sure. Or Metal Gear Solid 2 had them because Raiden is a child soldier. He's just grown up. So.
Huh.
I think Metal Gear Rising was the best one because it was like. There's a scene way late in the game where like Raiden goes in this base. He discovers all of these children's brains that have been like removed from their bodies, so they're in like robotic casings to like fuel a war machine. And it's
Wow.
like, this is crazy.
That's awesome. You've been kind of enticing me to play the game, but I've just never been a Metal Gear person.
See, this isn't a Metal Gear game. That's the thing. This is basically like a third-person Far Cry game.
Ah, I can be into that.
Like, you can sneak around, and it's very... Well, the big thing that helps you to sneak around is when you get spotted, you have like a few seconds of reflex time, so you can shoot the person who saw you, and then you don't get like discovered by them.
Oh.
Or you can just call in airstrikes on bases, and that's pretty fun.
I can go with that. What's up, Daniel?
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hey.
What are you up to?
Actually couldn't sleep tonight, and then saw the alert, so figured I'd jump on.
Alright. Well, there's not a whole lot of news, whatever. Have you been able to play anything?
Not recently. Last week was my 72-hour week at one job, so my time was taken up sleeping when I wasn't there.
That sounds awesome. At
It'll
least
be really,
you know.
It will be really nice when I get my paycheck.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. At least you have a nice paycheck to look forward to. So there was well, speaking of The Witcher, there's gonna be they're getting their the game's getting its first expansion, Hearts of Stone, on October 13th. There's gonna be 10 new hours of content with new characters, monsters, romance, and storylines. With the new rune words system, and if you get the collector's edition, which is like $20, or a limited box edition, you can get actual 2 physical decks of Gwent cards, a rule book, and other things. Are you guys excited for this Witcher expansion here, Mark?
I would be, but I'm so not far in The Witcher 3 right now that it's pretty immaterial to me.
Fair enough.
Like, if I needed to get to it, I'd need to put in like 200 more hours into that game, probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it says you have to be like level 30 or something to play it.
Yeah, I'm like
Play the game
level
or something.
19, I think, and I'm still trying to find Dandelion, so it's like, whatever.
Do you I don't remember. You don't have the game, right, Daniel, or you do? No.
I do, but I haven't played it as much as I should be and as much as I want to. There always seems to be something coming up or a new game that takes me away from it just a little bit.
Well, at least it'll be there, you know, and it's free if you don't want to get the collector's edition or whatever. So, hey, I mean, I'm not that's the best words I get to hear are free when it comes to expansions. So most people don't do that. That's pretty cool.
Now, I don't mind it being free. That's actually nice.
So some details came out of the lawsuit that Destiny wrapped up, I guess this week, with Marty O'Donnell, the former composer of Halo, and he composed some of the stuff for Destiny, and then he was just fired. So the guy he decided to sue for wrongful termination, and they found out that apparently there was the game was delayed a whole year because they had to do revisions on the story, and there was supposed to be a lot more story in the game originally, and then all of a sudden the guy that was writing the story also left Bungie as well. So it isn't totally clear as to really what caused them to have to change the story around or whatever, but them deciding to take the story out and make it the game that we got is what made it be delayed for a year.
It's because Activision said we want 5 games.
Yeah, because they by now we were supposed to get Destiny 2, and they decided to just make a bunch of expansions instead. Now, obviously, something that's been said by a lot of people is that Destiny needs more story. You don't really know what's going on, or there's a lot of a lack thereof story, period. Would you have been more into the game or played it longer had it had more story to it? Daniel?
Yeah, I probably would have. I mean, I got bored with it because it just felt like I was doing the same thing over and over with very little reason for it. At least if there was a story, I would have hopefully have been given a reason why I'm fighting the same people for the 20th time, or why this dungeon is better than this other one. I mean, there just was very little reason to do anything in that game.
Does
Sort
it
of
make
like
sense? Does it make sense to you, like why they would have taken this out? I mean, I
That
guess
really
the
makes
time
no
crunch.
sense to me. I mean, you want to do expansions instead of putting out new games, but the only way to do that is to have something with a story, changing it up, doing something to make it feel like a expansion on the game as opposed to, oh look, here's a new dungeon we're just throwing out.
What do you think, Mark?
yeah, like it sounds very like suspicious on like Bungie's part or Activision's part, more likely. Like them excising story bits just so they can likely put them in the second, third, and fourth games is just kind of awful. Like
Yeah,
if you need more story, just write more story for those games like later on.
right. I mean, I think Halo had more story than Destiny did.
Yeah.
So, just it doesn't make sense to me. This is. I know they don't want to call it an MMO, FPS or whatever they want to call it. It's FPS RPG or whatever. But part of that is it has this story that you want to continue. And then if you're going to make it this grand thing, you want to continue to build upon that. Obviously, Blizzard doesn't make expansions that come out every 2 or 3 months or whatever, like Destiny has for a little while. But the point of these expansions is also more to the story that you're unlocking, or different parts of the lore that you're getting to touch upon, which is another thing too. Like all the lore you had to go read on the website. I mean, they don't even want you to learn about much of anything about the game. They just want you to keep shooting things, which is great and all, but that, like Daniel said, it gets boring.
Looks like a Titanfall.
Yeah, and that was my big complaint with Titanfall when it came out. It was a fun game, but there was no reason to do anything. It got boring quick. And part of me wonders if part of the reason that they cut out some of the story had to do with some type of legal reasons. Either they were afraid of a lawsuit, or something happened with the head writer's leaving. It's just speculation, but why else would you delay a game that for a year just to change the story?
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, I think it had to do with the guy that was writing the story leaving, but it screams to me like Activision just said, okay, we need to get this game out. Screw the story. Let's just cut it so that we can just let them keep playing the game, and people will just not worry about the story or whatever. And the game has sold well. There's still people playing it. Obviously, this is why they're coming out with Taken King and all that stuff. But who knows what you could have had you left that in there. And I mean, do you really believe them when they say, okay, Taken King's going to focus all this stuff on story now? That going forward they are going to focus on it?
It might, but I don't think it's going to help. I think people have moved on from that game because the people that have moved on from that game because they got bored with it, very few of them are going to come back.
Yeah, I agree on that one. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I think that game, at least Destiny, like the first one is kind of done. Like I think if they make a sequel, that might get people back in if it's going to be like better. Like I think having like Nolan North will help, like hopefully for the story. But yeah, like, even this Taken King stuff, like them delaying the raid, it just smacks of like what is going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, why? If anything, why are you taking out the thing that brings the people in the most? Is the raid? I mean, didn't you already have this problem before with your other expansion not having a raid? Period. I mean, that makes sense to me.
I'm glad O'Donnell won, by the way, though.
Yeah, me too. He deserved it. Well,
Remember when we thought Bungie could do no wrong and how it was going to rival Blizzard as the next great game studio?
Yeah, somewhere along those lines. That didn't happen.
All the
But,
people that said Microsoft was stifling their creativity, I kind of wonder about that now.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody has come out and shown how you do exclusives, certainly Microsoft.
I think Bungie was just kind of tired of just doing Halo games, and that's kind of what all Microsoft wanted from them. So I can kind of see that, but to partner with Activision is just like going from one bad horse to a worse one. It's like, this is like, that's all their business is.
I wonder with the ID on Xbox stuff or whatever, if they would have let them say, like, okay, take some of your guys, and if you want to make another game that's not Halo, go do that, or whatever. Kind of like how Ubisoft let, I forgot exactly who it was that's making The Wild. He made his own studio and all that stuff, and then they had another guy go on, and he's the one that made Child of Light, and they're making something else now. So, I wonder if they would have, with them wanting more exclusives and stuff like that, if they would have let Bungie have what they were asking for.
I think they definitely would now, given the people that were in charge of Xbox and everything at the time. I wonder if that's part of the reason why they left.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020 at this point. Like, if they could have bought Bungie back, or like not had them divorce themselves, they would have done it real quick now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if Bungie would have said, "Hey, we're done making Halo unless you let us make something else in the meantime," and they would have been like, "Oh, well, sure, go ahead."
I think Microsoft would have been more receptive to them doing something different at this point compared to this time 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, because you still had Don Matrick there, and you had other people that were in charge of the Xbox division that didn't see it the way Phil Spencer does now.
Exactly.
Imagine how much better the Halo Master Chief Collection would have been.
Yeah, that's not gonna lie about that. I'm sure they would have made sure the multiplayer worked. Who knows? It still could have had issues. But I mean, speaking of the Xbox, they had Robbie Bach talk about how some of the stuff that happened at launch of the Xbox One could have been avoided had they, done things better. But he is amazed at the fact of what Microsoft's done in this time, like all these things that they had set for it. And if you're thinking of the things that made Xbox work, Xbox Live, obviously, Halo, but he cites, I didn't even know this, that they apparently took a $1.15 billion hit for the Red Ring thing.
Oh yeah, they had to.
Yeah, that it was like Steve Ballmer was the one that said, okay, we're going to take this right down so we can just move on from this. And because apparently, like, some of the other Microsoft people didn't want to do it, and then he just kind of stepped in and was like, okay, we're doing this, because if not, the 360 is just going to die a death. But he brings up a interesting thing about they had considered having a Xbox, like, portable device. And they all shot it down because they couldn't really focus on both things. But do you think that Microsoft at one point could have made a portable device work? Or no?
Well, look at how well the Vita and PSP did.
Yeah.
PSP eventually did okay.
Not really. Because by that time it got broken up, like broke open.
Yeah, I mean, worldwide, I don't think it would have done well. And handhelds, I mean, look at the Vita and PSP in the US and Europe, never really got off the ground. It sold better in Japan, but how well does Xbox sell in Japan right now? I think it wouldn't have gotten the traction at the time I think now people might be a little bit more open to it, especially if they tried to do something completely different than what's been done before. But right now they need to focus on the Xbox One since they are... I mean, I know they're doing well in sales, even if they're not the top seller, but you don't want to start taking your attention away from your console and focusing on something else.
Oh yeah, I mean now they would just be a bad. I mean I just don't know. I mean even Nintendo, who, yes, they're releasing more models of their new 3DS or whatever, but I don't know. I still am very skeptical about, are they going to release another, whatever the next 3DS is, on its own, because of the way that those things are just not selling, I think, the way they wanted to. I mean, the 3DS sells because it's the Nintendo console to have, because the Wii U is, is what it is. But, even then, the Wii, the other thing that befuddles me, even though, yes, you are getting about $75 worth of stuff for free, they still want you to pay $2.99 for the Wii U. They're coming out with another bundle with Mario Kart 8 pre-installed and a download code for the 2 DLC packs. Is this still too much?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they have come down a little bit now?
I think so.
I mean, $250 is not bad. I mean, I know they don't want to sell it at a loss because they're already losing on the system, but if
you can get like you can get a PS4 for $400 or an Xbox One for $350. Like what kid is gonna, or who in the right mind is gonna go with the Wii U instead of one of those two?
The only thing I can think of is, and then by now too, the parents that walk in a store and go, "Oh, that's the console that has Mario," they've already bought that.
Yeah.
So the people that are still around now thinking about a Wii U are either, people like us, or kids that just don't have anything yet, or maybe they're going to be new to gaming or something like that. It's just, yeah, I don't see how this helps the price, but
I feel like to move the Wii U, they're going to have to do something that has never been done before on any Nintendo console, but they're not going to do it because they're already focusing on their new console.
Oh yeah.
I really doubt that Zelda game is coming out for the Wii U at this point.
I mean, it looks like, Miyamoto said that Pikmin 4 is coming out, and it looks like it might be coming to the Wii U, so...
That's cool, but, how many people... That's not exactly a system seller.
Yeah, really, it's one of those games that, we as, hardcore gamers like and know about, whatever, but I don't know any kids that go, "Oh yeah, Pikmin, I've been waiting for that." Just... They got Mario Maker, though, so...
That's their big game for the holiday.
Yeah.
That and hopefully Star Fox, but that's kind of a big question mark at this point.
I mean, I've heard that the whole looking at the gamepad and then looking at the screen thing, you get used to it after a while, but I can imagine that being very annoying for kids.
Unless your kid is cross-eyed and has one eye always down and one eye always up. That'd be useful.
I mean, I tend to look at the looking down at the gamepad and then looking up at the screen, kind of like if you're actually in a fighter looking at a display and then looking back. That aspect of it doesn't bother me quite as much as just not knowing if it's even going to come out or not this year.
Right.
Also, the last few Star Fox games have not been great. The last good one was Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
That's certainly saying something. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they had to remake it for the DS, so, you could think that Star Fox was still around. Because, that was the game everybody was, that's the game that when I think of Star Fox, that's the game I think of, because the other ones for the GameCube were just, they tried to do too much with it. Which, hopefully they didn't do that with this one. But.
Well, it looks like they kind of already are with how many vehicles you can play as. It's this is going a little crazy.
Yeah, but I think they need to have some type of variation in the vehicles because people were getting bored. I don't want to say people were getting bored with flying around all the time, but it was starting to be, what else can we do in this world?
Well, yeah, they don't want to make it like an hour-long game.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the 64 version, you had that one level where you were the tank.
Right.
One level is a tank, one level is a sub.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just don't bring back the sub. I'm good with that. That's
I think where you get out of the fighter, that's where they started having problems.
yeah, exactly. Then it became platformer or whatever, weird game. It's like
just like Star Wars.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know a game you're excited about, I'm sure, Mark, since I still see you playing the version that's out now of this game on Steam quite a lot, but Binding of Isaac Afterbirth comes out October 30th on Steam.
Yep.
It has 1,000 new rooms, 120 new items, 8 new bosses.
Should be fun.
And it's
Hopefully it's not. Hopefully, like, items work a little better in this one. Yeah.
So, what's wrong with the items in this game?
No, the items in Rebirth, like, some of them don't quite mesh correctly.
Yeah.
And this one looks like you can, like, have, like, bouncing lasers and a whole bunch of, like, other crazy stuff.
Oh. Well, hey, at least soon people that are big Borderlands fans can play Borderlands 1 on the Xbox One, because you'll get have your save files, your add-ons, and all that stuff carried over. Now, see, that's how you do backwards compatibility right there. Bring it all over. Not just the game, but if you're playing it on 360, you can just play it the way it was on Xbox One. I like hearing positive things about the backwards compatibility all the time, because, it's, people have been asking for it, and I'm glad that they're kind of just really taking it to heart. I don't know that I'm going to sit there and play all those games on my Xbox One, but, it's there if I want it. What do you think? You're expecting more of this stuff, Daniel, or?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more people get into it because what's the big thing we keep hearing that companies want to do with their games? They want to expand the life of their games. They want people to keep playing them longer than they have been. By making a big deal out of announcing that game X, Y, and Z are backward compatible, people are going to go and it's going to pop back into their minds. They're going to think, I really like that game, and go back and play it.
Right.
Even for a little bit. Right now, there is no reason for people that had a 360 and wanted a new console. Say somebody traded in a 360, got an Xbox One. There's no reason for them to keep their 360 games. Going with backwards compatibility lets those games stay in the hands of the people that bought them. And, like, say there's a new Borderlands coming out. When Borderlands 2 was announced and was getting ready to come out, I started playing Borderlands 1 just to refresh myself on the game. I think you're going to see a lot more of that with franchises that are going to have their first game coming out on the next-gen consoles.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It makes sense. Instead of having to do the whole remaster thing, you can just say, okay, like they did with Gears, like, okay, we're remastering the first one, but we're not going to do it with all the other ones. You'll just get the other games backwards compatible.
Yeah.
How funny would it be if they announced that Borderlands 2 is not backwards compatible, though?
It'll come later. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
No, I mean, it's already on the Xbox One, though, for the collection.
Yeah, with the collection.
Re-sequel.
I mean, they're doing it with, they're going to do it with Halo, right? So, I mean, I don't know why not.
Well,
I mean, at some point, the sales for that collection are going to die. I mean,
yeah, I think the big thing for it is it doesn't cost the developers anything to do it because Microsoft said they'll handle getting everything backwards compatible.
Yeah, see, unless you're just really dying to make that remaster, I don't see why not.
And I think that'll also help to kill remasters if people start making stuff backwards compatible, there are going to be lower sales for remasters.
I wonder if they want to do that though, because they see that they're making a bunch of money with these remasters.
Yeah, but it's getting to the point now where there's enough other stuff out there to play. People aren't going to want to just keep buying remasters. They're going to want to buy new stuff.
Yeah, I can't see a lot of people buying like the Darksiders 2 remaster or the Dishonored remaster. It's like,
yeah, I think
all right,
after
I
Uncharted,
guess.
it was like, okay, enough of that. Like the Uncharted one made sense because you have a lot of people that are coming with a PS4 that never had a PS3. But like some of the other stuff, it's like, all right, you know, especially with Dishonored, which was I think a Games for Gold and a PS Plus.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I think I've seen enough Dishonored 1 for a while. Well, another game we'll be seeing again pretty quick here is Castle Crashers. It's getting remastered for the Xbox One. It actually comes out today at some point. It's going to cost $15. It's actually free through September 20th if you already have it on 360 and have Xbox Live Gold, or you can get it for $5 starting on the 21st if you already own the game on the previous system. So, hey, that's nice. At least you can just bring it over to your Xbox One for free if you really enjoy still playing that game. See, I mean that's cool. Like a lot of, we saw what was it? Evolved was free this weekend. Like I really think like Microsoft's just doing a lot of good stuff lately that show. I mean, obviously it's some of it's making up and wanting people to feel like what you bought means something or whatever, but they don't have to do it. So you think we'll see more of this kind of thing, where if you own the game previously, they'll let you just bring it over, or Daniel?
Yeah, I think we will, just because it's a really good way to spur new sales of the game. Say that I don't have it, but my friends do, and they start playing it all the time. Yeah, it's an older game, but it's still fun, and it's cheap, so why not pick it up and play it with your friends?
Marc?
I mean, a lot of people complain that there are some games out there that don't have a big player base for multiplayer. This just, everybody that's had the game before suddenly can play it, and that increases the player base as well.
Yeah, especially with something like Castle Crashers, which is awesome.
Yeah.
With other people, so Marc, what do you think?
Yeah, it's good, but I just don't know how many new people they're going to bring in. Like that's just my kind of question. Because most people who would play that game already own it, so it's like I don't see it as like a big like. Didn't Castle Crashers kind of not die, but just kind of slowly fade away?
Well, yeah, and I mean Behemoth's already got their new game coming out, and so I mean it's one of those things. People are still playing it, obviously, but it's not in the high demand that it was, previously. So something that Marc found on a website. It has to do with somebody's LinkedIn that works for Square, but he has listed a Kingdom Hearts 2.9, which started causing Marc and I to wonder what that means. It's a big rumor, obviously. It's not, nothing's confirmed yet, but it is listed for PS4 and PS3. The only thing I can think of is it's the 1.5 and 2.5 together. That wouldn't equal 2.9, but
to be fair, math has not been one of Square's strong points lately.
No.
Remember 358 over 2?
Yeah, I don't know what that meant, but okay.
Just out of curiosity, what has been Square's strong point recently?
Eidos? Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that wasn't really Square doing anything. It was...
Well, they own Eidos, so...
Yeah, But I mean, it's not their flagship company.
Yeah, but that's what's keeping their ass afloat. So
Yeah, exactly.
know.
All their American stuff is basically keeping their butts in, you know, in gear.
it's not like Final Fantasy 15. Whenever that gets out, it's like that'll sell well, but I mean, look at how much time and money has been invested into it. It's going to be a loss.
Yeah, I can't imagine Type 0 did not great for them either.
That's kind of a shame because that's actually a good game.
Yeah, I mean, good on them for continuing to release the stuff on Steam to try to get them more sales and whatever, but...
Not on Steam, that was a crap game, but on like consoles it was fun.
Well, yeah, it's just, you know, I'm not gonna hate on what they're doing. At least they knew what to hit on at the press conference, you know. They made Just Cause and Hitman and all that stuff look good. To the point of I almost still want to play that Hitman game, even though I'm not very good at those games, period, but it is what it is. So Cliffy B had something, he said that he was almost done with gaming when he left Epic. He says that gamers were becoming jaded, and he thought that all the people, or you know, some of the really talented people at Epic were becoming jaded. He'd pitch something, and they'd just be like, "I don't buy it." I mean,
no, they said get your ass back to making more chain swords.
yeah, probably that too. But has there ever been a time where you thought like you were gonna be done with games, or you just couldn't play game? You know, I had a period where I basically had to sell all my stuff to just keep living, and I couldn't play anything but like my old PS1 and PS2 games for a while. It was like at least for a year or so. But have y'all ever gotten to a point where you were quitting gaming, or gaming wasn't that big a deal to you?
I mean, I had a point where it was due to, monetary reasons where I just couldn't play games, and I was out of it for a little while. I never enjoyed being out of it, always missed it, always tried to keep up with the news of what was coming out, but I just couldn't play anything. As for people becoming jaded, when have gamers not been jaded and complained about stuff?
Yeah, we just didn't hear about it before the internet.
I think part of me feels like this is the whole Hollywood, well, you don't like what I'm doing, well, you should like it because I'm giving it to you type argument.
Right.
I mean, people have always been jaded. They will always be jaded. I don't think that type thing will ever change.
I mean, I don't know. I think it has to do also with the fact that we've come to expect a lot from games now. You know, people have just we've become kind of spoiled with all these great games that come out and everything. And especially you still have that big mentality of people just not liking indie games. They think indie games are stupid, or if it's on a AAA game, it sucks, or... You know, that to me is when you're getting jaded and it's dumb. Like, to me, you should just appreciate all kinds of games. I mean, I get some people just don't like certain games or whatever, but if you really care about video games and you love video games, then you should be able to give anything a shot. You know, and I feel like maybe he felt like some of his creativity was stifled too, because, you know, the people that were there didn't understand what he wanted to do, and he's just like, oh man, I'm done with this, whatever. But
at what point does that become his fault for not explaining it better? Or, I mean, we've seen some pretty weird games come out that people have gotten games made, and I don't think it's because game companies only want clones of existing games. I think you get to the point where some people just aren't explaining things as well as they should. And that's where you're getting the problem where stuff doesn't get greenlit at one place, but it does at the other.
I don't know about that. I mean, there's certain companies that, like, until recently, EA wasn't making anything really new. I mean, Same thing with Activision.
Well, it depends what you mean by EA, though, because you always had, like, the people working on Mass Effect, Dragon Age. I mean, those were, granted, they were RPGs, but, those were new franchises that they were putting out.
What's their newest franchise been?
Well, now they have the that indie game. What should we call it? The one with the yarn thing.
Okay.
They showed up at E3. I mean, and they gave Mirror's Edge another shot. So.
Yeah, I mean, they put stuff out, but you get some people that say they're not going to buy it just because it's EA. You get other people that say they're not going to buy it because it's a new IP or it's a new franchise, and then in the same breath they're complaining about no new IPs or no new franchises.
Right, yeah, that's jaded number one right there. And like, to me, it's dumb. Like, don't complain about there not being new things, and then you don't want to go out there and give those new things a chance, because the only way that they're going to get any kind of word of mouth is somebody has to play them besides just critics. I mean,
right, but if a game is really good, it will sell, and it will word of mouth will increase the sales if nothing else.
Not always, though. There's been a lot of games that people say, "Oh, these games are great," and they don't sell well. And then, like, look at Mirror's Edge for example. Look at how many there are other games that have done. They didn't sell what you would think that they should for all the praise it was getting, because people just, it wasn't something they knew. So
yeah, but Mirror's Edge has its flaws.
Right.
I mean, it's not a perfect, great game.
I agree with you on that.
I'm saying if there's a game that comes out that is a good game, it doesn't have very many flaws, it'll sell no matter what.
Yeah.
The thing is, at this point, and I don't consider this gamers being jaded, gamers are very critical about games that have flaws in them. Whether it be major glitches, whether it be clipping it. I mean, whatever the issue is, if a game has some major flaws in it, gamers will turn against it and turn against the developer for releasing it with those flaws. There's a long list
Ubisoft, yeah.
Yeah, is that... But going back to jaded gamers... And fair or not, it tends to be new IPs that have those issues. Are those gamers being jaded, or is it just saying, we want quality, we don't want you to just throw something out and expect us to pay for it?
Right, but there are times where new IP comes out and they just don't go to it because it is something new that they don't quite understand or whatever. I mean, it's the same thing when, you get the new hot artsy movie that everybody likes. Does everybody go see it? No. Does it make it that it's not... Is it not... It's still a great movie, but not a lot of people saw it because...
Yeah, but movies you have to be careful with because these artsy movies tend to get limited releases or they're not released everywhere. And it's not quite as comparable.
Did Journey really sell, all that well?
I mean, it did okay.
Yeah, I would say that it did. It was an indie game.
Yeah.
That there, you have people that either don't like buying digital games or just don't like indie games, or some people that have a limited amount of money and they only want to get certain games that they know.
Oh yeah, I can understand the money part, and I can understand the...
Well, I'm saying just because it was a good game, but just because it made money and that's the goal. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to break sales record to be a successful game. Square, it does not have to be a sell record breaker to be a successful game. Please remember that.
The Tomb Raider was a failure.
Until the definitive edition came out, then it wasn't all of a sudden.
We all know Cliffy B was jaded because Microsoft shot on his Jazz Jackrabbit reboot. That's what
he decides to come out with Fortnite and Lawbreakers and I mean, credit to him. Those games, look different and feel new or whatever. Just, I think the thing is too, though, for somebody to come out with a new AAA IP, that's hard because those games cost so much money. I mean, Destiny, and then what else? I mean, like, most of the new games you get now are indies, and then if they do well, then it lets them make bigger games or more indie games or whatever. I mean, just...
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody's going to start out, or very few companies are going to start out making a groundbreaking AAA game and that be their first release. I mean, I can't think of the last company that really did that, and it was a great game. I mean, whenever you get a new IP, what you always hear is there's a lot of potential here, but ...
Yeah, most games when they get released they're gearing up for like trilogies or hopeful sequels to fix up the problems of the first one, or the first game's always like a proof of concept.
Right, like why can I not think of the stupid the PS4 game that got crapped on really bad?
Watch Dogs?
No, not that game.
The Order?
Yeah, The Order. Which now GameStop is giving me an offer that I can go buy it for $20, and I still don't know if it's worth that.
I mean, I'll use that as an example. It was a new IP, but people didn't like it because it was predictable, and it didn't bring anything new to the table.
And it also sort of made you feel like they lied to you because it seemed to be a different game than it actually wound up being.
Yeah. They took out multiplayer, they took out co-op, all that. You can't tell me that if they had put in multiplayer, if they had put in co-op or one or the other, that game would not have been more successful.
Probably so. And also make it to where, you're actually playing the game more and not reading stuff or
exactly
watching things.
But I mean, you can't say that game didn't sell because it was a new IP, but that's what a lot of people look at it and say, oh, well, it was a new IP, that's why it didn't sell. Or a lot of people that handle making games say.
Right. I mean, in your case, look at Last of Us. New IP from a company that is known, and then people flock to it, because it was so great and everything. So there's a case to be made for all of that. It's just, I do feel like, it's like with anything though. The internet has made people in general more knowledgeable about things that maybe perhaps when we didn't have the technology, we kind of just, as kids, nobody thought about any glitches that were in the NES games we were playing or whatever, right? We just played them. That's what we had.
Because all those games were perfect.
Yeah, when we were kids, all those games were just...
Hey, I remember throwing my controller a few times due to glitches.
Yeah, I do too. It's just... But we didn't have an avenue to complain about it or tell anybody about it, really, except to your friend that came over or your parents that were there listening to you yell at the TV or whatever.
You could write a letter to Nintendo Power.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where gamers are less forgiving for flaws.
Right.
But I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. I mean, if you saw how many moviegoers are willing to overlook massive plot holes.
Yeah, I mean, not even that, but just, other things, whatever, and if there's something wrong with the movie in general, just,
yeah, I mean,
how many people come out there and are reviewers now that it's crazy.
I mean, it gets to the point where your base evolves to expecting better quality than they did 10, 20 years ago. And that's not a bad thing, because that means that it's growing and there's more people have more options.
Right, and you should want people to tell you what's wrong with your game so you don't make the mistake again, later. Just you don't want to have the same problems with your game second time around. Obviously, there are still people that do that, yearly franchises and whatnot, but what if we didn't? I mean, what if we didn't have people to tell you, hey, this sucked, or you need to change this, or whatever. Just how different games would be, how many more games would come out with glitches and problems and.
Yeah, I mean, but you get some game creators and some big names that get personally offended when people point out that there were glitches or point out what they didn't like. And you see that more prevalent with the indie games than you do with the big corporations.
I don't know about that. Look at the guy who does Twisted Metal.
Well,
that guy's a douche.
I mean, you do see it with both kinds, obviously. I mean, the indie game developer, they get a little bit more upset about it because
it's their livelihood.
Spent, their whole life making this game, and then you crapped all over it, and now they can't make another game. So, I mean, that it should have been made right the first time, but sometimes you don't have the cash flow to fix this or fix that or whatever. You kind of just have to put it out there. But then also the big AAA games that they do come out and they have problems. Some of them are really understanding and they say, okay, we're going to make a patch, whatever. And some of them are just like, okay, deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty crappy, but it's just, not everybody can be good at PR, I guess. And speaking of, we were talking about Ubisoft. They're gonna make a theme park in Malaysia centered around Assassin's Creed, Just Dance, and the Rabbids. It's due to open in Kuala Lumpur in 2020. Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
That'll be the vacation spot of the year.
I just don't like. What are you making out of Just Dance? Like,
it'll just be DDR. It'll just be like reskinned DDR machines.
Yeah.
But you make a whole theme park on that? Like, I mean, like the Rabbids I can kind of understand. That's your mascot and whatever. And then, Assassin's Creed,
that's obvious.
I don't know what ride you're making out of that, but...
Like a boat ride or, I mean, they'll figure something out.
You'd think Far Cry would,
I think Far Cry, like Prince of Persia, Watch Dogs, maybe.
You could make a Watch Dogs game where, you can actually drive the car correctly.
Rayman would be funny.
Yeah, Rayman.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out in like 5 years or something.
Yeah.
When they're supposed to have this done.
It just seems like a really weird location for a tunnel.
It'll just be like some super long tunnel from like there to like Tokyo, Japan, like Disney Tokyo.
Hey, just make it a bright white light tunnel that you're going through, like you're waiting for the Animus to load.
That'd be great. So you like never come out of it.
This park is where they display the real Animus that Ubisoft has been building for years.
Well, at least we might see that, or we might see a Mega Man movie made by 20th Century Fox. So.
Yay, Fox messing up another franchise, just what I wanted.
It's just gonna be live action because.
I really hope so. They can get Zac Efron to play Mega Man. It'll be great.
Oh God. I can so see that happening too.
Give it to the guy that did Fantastic Four.
Oh God, even worse.
No. Fox proudly announces Yui Bowl will be handling the Mega Man movie.
Oh, might as well strike it down right now. I mean, is there any chance like it could maybe work? I mean,
I think it depends on how much they paid for the movie rights. if they didn't pay a lot and the director's allowed to have their own say-so and the director's a fan of the franchise, it could work. If the studio gets massively involved, it won't work.
I want it to, let's say it's a 2-hour movie. I want the movie to just be about 20 or so boss fights for 5 minutes each, and then it just ends.
Yeah, all the different.
It just goes through the series like chronologically. Like the first 6 boss fights are like Gutsman and Fireman and Iceman, and then it goes up from there.
That's great. I don't know, and people would actually be too into that movie, but you know.
I'd watch it.
Straight to DVD release.
I think the guy who did like one of the Planet of the Apes movies is doing it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Like what?
Hey, if they get a good director, who knows?
Well, I mean, the story was originally evil robots have taken over, and
Yeah, it's not too far-fetched for them to do a movie on.
evil robots, evil apes, and
It'll be interesting to see what version of Mega Man they pull. Like if they do the original one, I mean they would kind of have to, I would think, but
They probably would, but I mean, I'm sure he would have different, attacks or whatever. It wouldn't just be the gun or.
he'll still be named Rock, and his sister will still be named Roll. And that'll be great. And then for the sequel, they can go up to Mega Man X.
Yeah, I think people are. Who knows? I don't know if they'll get that far.
Like each Mega Man series just gets a movie on its own, so you can get the Mega Man Legends movie. But that'll have to be kickstarted first.
I thought they were going to go with the Mighty Number 9 movie as a sequel that they have to do kickstarted.
That is such a weird game. Like I don't think it's coming out.
What, Mighty Number 9?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just been so delayed, and people are just so pissed about it.
I'm sure you paid all this money for the game to get made, and then they had to ask for more money, and then.
Also, the Red Ash Kickstarter didn't exactly help.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny that the movie one got funded, but the game one didn't.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, hey, there's always Star Citizen that'll hold the hopes of everybody wanting a good crowdsourced video game.
Except for that one jackass who did the space, who was like suing them about their like account practices.
Really?
I think his name. I think it's like, yeah, he's like some guy suing them, and like he like Star Citizen, like they refunded that guy's money, but he's still suing them or trying to.
Why?
Because he's an idiot.
Well, I did hear that they are. I mean, there's apparently enough people complaining about how long it's taking and what they're saying they're cutting out that they are refunding people's money.
Oh, this guy named Derek Smart. He's like he claims to be a game designer. That's right. And he's like trying to get this like class action lawsuit going about it. But his reasoning is like they wasted so much of our money, so I'm going to waste more of their money by fighting the lawsuit. It's like, wait a second.
That doesn't make sense.
I'm no lawyer, but that doesn't quite work out.
Yeah, if they're spending money on lawyers, that means there's less money they're spending on the game. But, whatever, floats their boat, I guess. So, apparently Warner Brothers is so happy with Ben Affleck as Batman that they're going to cut down the screen time for Henry Cavill as Superman in the Batman vs. Superman movie. This somehow Superman just gets shafted everywhere by DC.
Oh, I was just going to say DC Comics gets shafted by Warner Brothers again.
I don't get this.
I mean, okay. Marvel movies are handled by the comic book company. They stay fairly true to the comic book character, and they do well. DC comic book movies, The company has very little say in it. They try to change everything around because they want it to be more gritty, dark, and realistic. And they don't do as well. And sometimes they bomb.
They do well, but it has like only Batman does well.
Yeah, I mean, at what point do they realize, hey, maybe we should just keep things... Well, Batman does well because those are the movies that feel the closest to the comics. A gritty, street-level hero.
Also, they had a not jackass direct them, so that helped.
Yeah, but I mean, at what point do you say, hey, maybe Superman should be a little bit more lighthearted? Maybe we shouldn't just try to completely change the character and have him dark and gritty just because it worked for Batman. They're two different characters.
Or, at least make Superman feel like he matters. Because...
You know what's baffling about that is the DC movies suck, but the shows are good.
Yeah, and the animated movies are good. But those are the ones that the studios don't have a lot of say in.
Because they don't care about them.
Right.
Yeah, they say, okay, just don't use this, or this, and have fun.
Yeah, because they're not expecting anything out of that either.
I mean, and they don't mind pulling the feet from right underneath the show. Look at Arrow. They were using Deadshot, they were building them up for something, and then they said, you can't use that character anymore.
That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, they can't use it because Suicide Squad's coming out, and Will Smith is Deadshot. We can't have two versions of Deadshot in a TV show, even though we're going to have a movie Flash and a TV show Flash.
No, pretty soon Warner Brothers will say you can't use a Flash in the Flash show.
Yeah.
We laugh, but I expect them to do something like that eventually. Or say you can't use Barry Allen anymore.
They'll just magically turn into Wally West.
They're already saying they're introducing Wally West in this next season.
They introduce like everyone in the next season.
Yeah, isn't it great?
That half the people won't even be there after episode 2. Warner Brothers will be like, "Oh, hey, we didn't tell you to use any of these people. What the hell?"
Oh, hey, yeah, you can use Vibe. We're going to take the rest of the Flash and the Rogues away.
Have either of you watched the Supergirl pilot?
No.
No, of course not, because I would have had to illegally download that and watch it.
It's so awkward how they cut around Superman.
Yeah, I know. Him.
Like, just fucking cast Tom Welling in the role and be done with it.
Cast somebody in
He's
the
not
role,
doing anything
please.
else. He's fine.
That doesn't make any sense to me either. Make a Supergirl movie, but she don't have Superman in it.
No, and they really don't even like saying
He's
the
like
word
this-
Superman. It's all him or he said that.
Yeah, or like his cousin or her cousin.
Yeah.
What the hell? That show's not gonna do well.
No, actually the pilot's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's really not. It's really awkward about the Superman stuff, but like the main actress is pretty fine for the role.
Yeah, I like her as an actress. It just, I hope
how
they
long-
take that out.
I feel like how long can you have a Supergirl movie before Superman shows up?
Yeah. They'd have to at least put him in season 2 or something if they get that far.
I just don't want it to be like very episodic. Like every week she faces just some new stupid threat. Like, no.
I hope not either, but
I don't
I'm
want
really
this to be.
worried that,
I don't want this to be Smallville 2.0.
Well, we've already got, not really tights, but we've got capes and flying, so...
I mean, after they changed Sleepy Hollow, where they try to make it more episodic and stuff, I'm not enthused by a lot of things.
Didn't that bomb horribly?
Well, no, they're changing it this season.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind a show being more episodic. Look at Supernatural. in general, it's a very episodic show, but every now and then they'll relate to something that's building up. And then they'll have a few episodes that dedicate just directly to that. I don't mind that so much, but if you just go purely episodic with no reference to anything else in the past, that's when I run into an issue.
Yeah, because you're not rewarding any of the people that keep watching the show.
Right. I mean, look at X-Files. They handled it really well. Some would say they drew it out too much, but they had a nice balance of episodic and ongoing storylines.
I would actually say their episodic stuff is better than their storyline stuff for the most part.
Looking back, yes. But at the time, you liked hearing about the storyline and getting little bits and pieces of it developed until you saw the ending. I mean, I'm willing to give Sleepy Hollow a chance. I just want to see just how episodic they're planning on it being.
Yeah. As long as that lets you give little hints, and because that show's been built that way, like it's just, I worry about it too because it's been built to have this overarching story. It's been the same thing kind of throughout both the seasons, and now you're going to make it episodic all of a sudden. It's like, well, you still got to have hints to the main story, because if not, it's not going to be the same show.
But hey, it's going to cross over with Bones.
Yeah, well, okay, Fox, y'all do weird things. Speaking of something that may or not be weird, Johnny Quest getting a movie, live action. It's supposed to be James Bond meets Indiana Jones, according to the director. At least the original cartoon is going to be used as most of the source material, though. So, Robert Rodriguez also has a hand in writing the script.
Remember how good that Inspector Gadget movie was?
Hey, just give me some more Venture Brothers and I'll be happy.
Right. You know what? I really liked Johnny Quest as a kid, so I'll give it a shot.
I mean, I can see how they could do it, but
isn't it just going to be like Agent Cody Banks, that like weird movie?
Well, I mean,
I never watched Johnny Quest, so I don't know.
How many kids nowadays now actually watch Johnny Quest or have watched any version of Johnny Quest?
That's the same thing with like Gem and the Holograms movie.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
At least Johnny Quest has those new adventures of Johnny Quest or whatever.
Yeah.
But Gem and the Holograms thing is like, alright, we want to bring back stuff from the 80s. Let's just do it.
Well, I hate saying this, but there is a relevant thing that people could look at, a fairly recent thing people could look at and say, hey, this reminds me of that. And I hate to say what it is because it's so horrible and it was on Disney, but it is a pop star having a secret life.
Montana.
I mean, it is somewhat similar. Pop star having a secret life.
Yeah.
In the sequel, is she going to show her boobs then?
Or just show everybody everything like she did on the VMAs?
I want there to be a Widget the World Watcher movie now.
Wait, what is that?
There's an old cartoon called Widget the World Watcher.
From when?
Early 90s?
That's probably one of the early 90s cartoons I did not watch.
You know what early 90s cartoon I want to see a live action movie made of? Exo Squad.
Bucky O'Hara. or a Mighty Ducks movie.
Again?
No, I mean with the cartoon ducks.
Oh, but the cartoon, yeah, I can go for that.
You laugh, but aren't they making... I've heard rumors that they're making a new Mighty Ducks movie.
Well, Joshua Jackson's not doing Fringe anymore, so why not?
Well, I think it's like a next generation type thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense if he was the coach.
Hey, you could probably get the NHL to pony up some of the money just to get people interested in hockey again. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying that those movies got more people interested in hockey than anything else the
I
NHL
agree, man.
could have ever done.
When I was a kid, I wanted to play hockey because of that movie or those movies. All right, so I guess I'm just gonna run down this. So Destiny: The Taken King comes out next week. Super Mario Maker comes out on Friday. Forza Motorsport 6 comes out next week. So does Pro Evolution Soccer 2016. People are still playing that? Alright. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain for the PC comes out next week.
No, it's already out.
Oh, it is?
I'm
it
playing
came out
it.
early? Oh, that's right, you're playing it. Well, it says on here. I don't know. Sometimes they have these dates.
Maybe like it gets released to like stores or something.
Yeah, it might be the retail version. That's right.
Yeah.
The NHL 2016 also comes out next week. I'm sure Randall is just dying to play that already. And the Disgaea Triple Play Collection, which I just bought 3 and 4 for a total of like, well, it would have been like $19, but I had a $10 credit, so I got them both for $10. Not bad. And I'm reviewing Disgaea 5 right now, which I can't really say a whole lot about, other than, you know, it's Disgaea, so you can pretty much know what you do in that game. But I'm really enjoying it, so they gave us, there's a long embargo for it. I can't talk about it till like the 22nd. But hey, something we can talk about, because it's going to be showing up, well, she won't be showing up until Christmas, but Doctor Who comes back really soon, and apparently River Song is going to show up in the Christmas episode. It's the first time she's ever meeting the Peter
Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi version of Doctor Who.
How many times are they going to bring her back?
I don't know, but I like her. So.
Hey,
I like her
it's
too.
time travel. They just go visit a version of her before she died, and you're good.
That's the thing is, like, she's kind of exited the series like 3 or 4 times now, and I thought the last time was pretty decent. It's like, it's a nice bow on the character. Like, you're fine.
Yeah,
Right,
but she did say
exactly.
spoilers, so
I guess.
you know, I mean, I don't mind bringing her back here or there. I mean, it's a time travel show. You can always bring people back if you wanted to, unless you completely erase them from time.
Maybe like bringing back Amy Pond and Rory.
Hey, they're living in the 1950s New York. There's no reason the Doctor can't go visit them.
That's true. He should do that one day. I'm sure that'll happen at some point. We'll see a lot of them. Maybe whenever Capaldi's done being the Doctor or something. But, yeah, you know they even show that on Disney XD now? Doctor?
Yeah, the Tenet Doctor. Well, is it Tenet that they're showing?
It's 2007.
Yeah, that'd be Tenet, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tenet. So, yeah, that's cool. New
Hey.
people getting introduced to Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Never gonna complain about that. Alright.
Although I am looking forward to the new season.
Me too, man. I can't wait for it to get here.
Yeah.
The best 13 weeks of TV.
Sadly true.
Then we gotta deal with all the fall shows coming back, and
But hey, the league a new season of the league is starting this week, so that's good.
starts today, actually. Or tonight, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't wait for that. It's gonna be the last one, though. Makes me sad.
Yeah, but I think they kind of ran the course of that one, of that show at this point. At least they
the
get the season to say
eventually.
goodbye.
Yeah, I'm glad they are. Alright, well, that's about it for this week. Let's get to those plugs. Daniel?
411 Factor Fiction goes up on every Thursday or sometimes Fridays, depending on the schedule. Check it out. This week I've got Todd and Randall discussing and sadly not arguing nearly as much as they used to, but hey, what can you do?
It's the more mature Randall now that he has that spiffy new job, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Just have one of the questions be, is Randall an idiot, and have it fact or fiction.
I don't know you'd appreciate that too much. Mark.
My column went up Monday. It was about top 8 remaining 2015 games. Next week is to think about like law enforcement games, which is kind of interesting. And that's about it. My Infinity review should be hitting shortly once I actually write it.
What's your final thoughts on that? Or
It's good, but it has some weird problems, like bugs. Like platform, or like hanging from like walls is kind of hard or just stupid. Like you can keep like pressing X to go right, but you'll eventually just like fly off the wall. And it's like they should have not had that happen.
I'd agree.
And there's like a quest later on. Me and my friend both noticed this, where you get a quest to like go in this vehicle and collect this person, but the indicator never pops up for where they are. So it's just kind of broken.
Huh.
But like the gameplay itself is fine, and the like Diablo mode is really good.
Oh yeah, that mode you were telling me about. That's awesome.
It's fun just to pick up Scrooge McDuck, throw them at people, and have them explode.
Great. Yeah, I saw your Zero Drifter reviews also.
Yeah, that was okay. It was just boring fighting the same boss every time.
That's innovative. Let's just fight the same boss constantly. That's whatever, I guess. I put down my pre-order for Rock Band 4 now, so super excited about that coming out in about a month. So I can just lose myself in more music game. It's been a long while, so why not? And, Guitar Hero can just go sit somewhere. I'm not paying $100 for that thing. But yeah, I've got 4PC is going to come out on, I guess, the same time as you, or you might get, because Randall decided he wanted to send me his after I went to work, so I really couldn't do anything. I got home at midnight, and Jeremy was like, yeah, I'm not waiting an hour. So, that's how that happened.
Yeah, that's how it happens sometimes. The joys of having to wait for people to respond.
Right? I sent out a game's top 5 of the top 5 Mario levels. Hopefully, some people will send me lists.
Yeah, I was trying to think of that. It's just kind of hard to pick out like individual levels.
Yeah, that's the problem I was having.
Like you can say 1-1, that's kind of the obvious one, but aside from that, it's like, well, I guess that Axum Rangers stage from Mario RPG was kind of cool, but
I thought about making it like set of like certain worlds or whatever in the Mario games, but
or like the clock level from, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me too, because there's so many games to go through and sit there and remember which levels that I like, which,
yeah,
ones I didn't, but
It's like 1-1, 2-3, 3-1, 5-4.
yeah. And then Super Mario 3 and 64 and all that stuff. Well, yeah, until next week, we shall see all of you later.
Later.
Later.